Hello. Toronto on Tilt Blue Jays podcast is on right now. We are doing a live reaction as soon as possible about the next big move the Blue Jays just made. Marcus Semien was Gold Glove shortstop. Pretty sure he was an All-Star in 2019. Should have been because he was amazing. But last year he kind of stunk. But now he's on the Blue Jays and he's going to play second base. Signed for 1 year, $18 million. What are your first thoughts, Theo?
My first thoughts is that we're not getting Chris Bryant. It's a little disappointing for me. I started buying into the Chris Bryant, Kyle Hendrick trade that was reported by every Jays fan. But the more you look into this, the more you look at the defensive versatility we're getting, and it makes a lot of sense. Like, we were excited about Brantley. Brantley was like the big slam dunk on top of the fucking Springer deal last week. We're like, this lineup's
Yeah.
sick. We're going to be amazing. This Semien deal kind of just allows us to use our defense the way we want. We're going to put him at second most of the time, but it allows us to, if we need him to play shorter third, he can do that. With Vlad, probably, I think he still plays at first and they put Bijou at third, but it gives the option either way. So it's nice to have another infielder who has the potential to bounce back and be a good offensive bat too.
Yeah, exactly. They needed versatility, and Semien provides that. And also, they have all the guys who could be up next year. You got Groshans, maybe even Austin Martin potentially. We'll see if we don't trade them by then. If they're on the roster, I'd rather take a chance on them than Semien, depending on what he does this year. This is a big year for him because he took the 1 year deal. Obviously, he was hoping for more in free agency. I think his agent said he wanted like a ton of money, something crazy like that. But no one was budging because he sucked last year. And also, next year's shortstop market is huge. We know we have
Trevor
Lindor,
Story.
Baez, Trevor Story, even Correa. So there's a lot of guys out there. So the more I think about it, it might be smart of him to rebrand himself as a second baseman.
Yeah, I guess that would, yeah, that's probably good, better for him. Yeah, but
Yeah, I didn't even think
you
about
get you
that
get
until
more
now.
money for being a short defensively. It's more valuable to be a shortstop though. So
Yeah.
I don't know how
But
that
at
works out.
least when he's a free agent next year, he can say, well, look what I did at second base, too.
I'm
So I
able
got
to
that
adapt. Yeah,
on my
versatility.
resume.
Versatility is the big one. The utility player.
I know I like this one. They've always said this the last few years. We want versatility. We're going to sign Travis Shaw because he could play first, third, and second base. Obviously, none of those things materialized, and he couldn't hit either. But Semien, at least he's going to bring defense, and he can run a little bit, too.
And I'm glad they're using this because a lot of people complain when they say, "Oh, it's a big money deal. Why would they give him that much? 18 million for?" It's a 1 year deal. The Jays need to spend the money anyway. They have the money to spend. This is how you spend it. If you're not gonna like tie your team up long term with more big contracts, uh, put them. Insert money here for a 1 year deal. It literally means nothing for the cap of this team, and it means nothing for this organization who can afford to take on that risk.
Well, that's the way people try to bring down the Blue Jays. They're having such a great offseason. And how do people bring them down? They say, oh, they're spending too much money. They're not being responsible. What about their future? Can they afford it? Like, that's how people try to, the haters, the Yankee fans, the Rays fans, everyone who in the American League, actually, because the Blue Jays are skyrocketing in the playoff race. They were already worried. Now they're doing more than they expected. And they're like, wow, now they're being reckless. But signing Semien on first glance, you might say 18 million too much, but it's not because he'll be gone next year. That money will be available along with a lot of other money freeing up next year. So, those people, all you people saying the Blue Jays are being reckless with their money, stop lying to yourself. They're making smart moves and they're becoming a real threat in the American League.
Yeah, and as far as the way this make this lineup, if he is 2019 Simeon and he's hitting 7, 8, we are literally. I'm not going to say the deepest lineup in the American League, but we're getting up there. If a lot of these younger kids start to become stars, like we think they're going to be.
I'm looking at a Roto Champ projected lineup here. They have Semien hitting second, and I think that's a bad idea. But for me, I would
No,
base they have Cavan hitting sixth. I'd rather him hit second because he gets on base so much behind Springer. Then you have Bo, then you have Teoscar. And then Lourdes
Again,
Black.
with my idea was always to hit Springer second, but we discussed it last week, and it
Yeah.
was I
I mean, either
understand why he
either
would.
way, it's not going to matter. I think they're just going to end up going with what he's comfortable with.
Yeah.
He gets on base more than anyone else except BGO, maybe, and even then it's neck and neck. So you can't really go wrong. But just going based on that, that's a strong lineup. Yes, Semien hitting 7th or 8th.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm excited for spring training to see how defensively this is going to work out, and to see for Semien, it's good for him that now he's getting that second base. We bought him to play second base pretty much,
Yeah,
which was why that
paid
extra
a little extra for it.
So, at first glance, you kind of think, oh, Justin Turner, Chris Bryant, bigger names would have been exciting, but this makes a lot of sense for the Jays, and it was one that I wasn't thinking about as much as you were, and it turns out to be the one we make. So, good on you.
Thank you. But I was gonna, because basically another guy in that conversation was Didi Gregorius, but for him, he only plays shortstop, and he's not even like the best shortstop, like defensively. That's kind of why I would rather have had Semien just for the defense. While Didi's bat is pretty good, Semien has the potential to be a good bat as well. So I guess that's what the Reds are going to pivot to. They're going to go hard for Didi because there aren't a lot of other shortstops left.
And that's the thing with Rivera too, is that you said his asking price way higher than what he had settled for the 1-year deal now, but now these other teams that need a guy like that are going to have to spend and probably overspend at this point, which is it's nice that Jays took care of it now instead of fighting for like Didi or something.
I know. It's especially like maybe last year's Jays wouldn't have done this. No way.
Last year's 2 years ago's Jays would have just bought Morales or something like that right away, overspent, did what the Mets did with McCann, and then been like, oh shit, maybe we shouldn't have thrown our money that early at a guy we didn't need to. But
no, now we're smart. Now they've realized that you need to spend a lot of money to get good free agents, something they didn't know before, and now they do. And now the team is materializing, and the pitchers are still out there. No other top pitchers have really gone anywhere. They're still out
just
there.
the Realmuto dream died, but that's about it.
Yeah, well, I was kind of over that once we signed Springer. Yeah. I didn't expect them to sign both.
But yeah, I think so. I think that's what we got for this, because we're going to do a longer form. We're going to look more into this. We're going to talk more about how this impacts the Jays. Yes. Rest of their free agency, kind of. I think this kind of settles the rest of the bats they're going to get. I don't see another big move offensively.
Yeah, they don't really need any more. Yeah, just a few starters. We'll talk about that more tomorrow. And Steve will be on the one tomorrow. So you get to hear another really informed Blue Jay fan and his opinions, which other people don't have as good as ours. So we're going to do that tomorrow. Make sure to subscribe to the Toronto Until podcast on, all the things. You have iTunes, YouTube, Leaker. I think it's on SoundCloud. Whatever.
No way it's on SoundCloud.
Steve's better at that than me because he knows where it actually is. But I mentioned the big ones. So, yeah, just go subscribe on there. Follow the Twitter account with the same name. And, yeah, ready to roll. Blue Jays going to crush this season.